So, what makes you spend your beautiful Saturday afternoon here volunteering for Ron Paul?
Because I don't want to be that guy 4 years from now who said I should have campaigned for Ron Paul. I don't want to regret. Actually, like I probably regretted 4 years ago not really getting out there. So if this country's going down, I want to make sure I can say, hey, I worked my hardest for liberty, for Ron Paul.
I'd say that Ron Paul supporters are the people most connected to their conscience.
Yeah, I think that it's for me. It's about my conscience. It's not just about getting out there to make my guy win. Like it's a team sport. It's like no, this is the best man for the job, the best man for the country, the best man to preserve um, our heritage as Americans for liberty, for the Constitution, which is the greatest document written between a people and their government. So I'm all for that man and his ideas. The cause will live on even if he doesn't. So, yeah.
And when did you get turned on to Dr. Paul?
Got turned on by Dr. Paul when I started watching the debates in 2007. Um, I was a registered Democrat before that, and I quickly switched parties in order to vote for Ron Paul in the California state primary, and I did. And yeah, then it switched back. I thought I was going to be a blue Republican or something. Yeah, but stayed with the.
Well, in California, you have to be a Republican to vote in the primary.
That's right.
And
yeah.
that's what I did too in 2007. I held my nose and registered Republican.
But I stayed Republican in order to vote for Ron Paul again and to keep that going.
Actually, could you start that kind of like I used to be a registered and like just what happened when you, like what you were thinking when you registered and did you have trepidation before and then how did you feel after blah blah blah.
Okay. Yeah, so after watching Ron Paul in the debates, and I was like looking at him like, is this a Republican in this Republican debate talking about ending the war, talking about civil liberties, talking about just the overstretch of government reach? And I was shocked that this guy was on stage with a bunch of other people that I had disregarded as a Democrat, as an African American, even like that. Just that, I'm not going to vote for Republican. But the more I listened to him, the more I did some research, and I found that this guy was the real deal. He really stood for what he believed, and what he believed just happened to be right. So the more I read, I knew I had to become a Republican, not for the sake of joining the Republican team, but for the sake of getting Ron Paul elected. And so I made sure that I was registered in time to vote for him in the primary, and I stayed registered in hopes that I could support him again and support the cause, because there's no way we could bring his ideas to the Democrats, but I think that there's a big hope for restoring liberty through the Republican Party, or if we can just bring down the party system, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always dreamed of a third party, and
I actually have my Libertarian Party membership card. I'm a donating member of the Libertarian Party, but I never.
What were you
registered.
thinking? Your switch from Democrat to like understanding? Because Ron Paul says a lot of things that are kind of like they use as little buzzwords and stuff on the Republicans, even though the other Republicans are just talking.
Yeah. For me, the more I read, the more like my mind about it, my mind changed about it. I guess Ron Paul's philosophy kind of detached me from my democratic upbringing. So I was really committed to the ideas. I read his books. I read The Revolution and the Fed, all that good stuff. I started I just read a whole lot of stuff. So I was convinced, like through and through, of the whole philosophy. It wasn't just about one issue or another.
Yeah, well, for me, it was like realizing there's a bigger picture. We're not given all the information, and we're not able to look at the bigger picture.
That's right. Yeah, it is a big picture issue. And I think that it's easy for people to be swayed left and right between, I gotta end abortion, or gay rights, no way, or whatever that single issue is, or keep abortion, whatever it's gonna be. Like people are so moved by their passions about one particular issue, and politicians know how to play that game. I mean, the conservative, evangelical right got Bush in to end abortion and to I don't know what, but what did he really do?
Well, if you noticed that Karl Rove put gay marriage initiatives on the swing states.
Yeah, the brain of Bush right there, right? Yeah, and they're still playing those same games today with the primaries. They moved it up, and so that they moved Florida up so that Romney could have a big advantage, and they tried to yeah, keep the southern states away. The whole thing is it's this big establishment movement, and actually for me too, another big draw for Ron Paul is I've always been a big fan of the underdog, and because oftentimes the underdog's the one speaking the truth, and nobody wants to hear it. So that was the initial draw, and the more I looked at it, I'm like, I'm pushing for this guy, not because I'm pushing just for an idea, but I do think he can win. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do, but that's what we're doing here, and I'm excited.
What would be your message for somebody who supports Ron Paul but is dissuaded by the media and thinks it's not worth it to come here and help the campaign?
Well, one of my favorite movies is Network, and I can't remember the guy's name, but his whole speech of I say watch that movie and realize that the real world is not in a little tube on the screen. The real world is outside. Get outside and start to really look at the issues. Read something, like turn off your television is my thing, because if you want to get some infotainment, yeah, go watch CNN, Fox, MSNBC, watch that. But that's just infotainment. You're not going to really learn about the real issues. So, learning the real issues, it becomes a red pill, blue pill opportunity, like you saw in The Matrix. And if you want to see where the rabbit hole takes you, you want to turn off your television and get to the real issues. Start to expand your mind. And I think it can be depressing at times to see what the real issues are. But here, I find that most Ron Paul people are happy people. We're happy to be enlightened. We're happy to know about these issues and to be articulate about the Federal Reserve, about these wars, about the economy and inflation. We're not just single issue people. We actually have deep conversations about the holistic view of politics and of society. So, yeah, turn off your TV is my main thing I say to those people.